Welcome to the Universal Tech Units podcast.
Great to be here.
Today, we're embarking on a deep dive into a topic that feels like it's evolving almost daily. I mean, the incredible capabilities of artificial intelligence tools.
Oh, absolutely.
On one hand, it's truly breathtaking, isn't it? The sheer creative power, the productive capacity that AI offers. It's absolutely transformative.
Yeah.
It's revolutionizing industries, opening up artistic avenues we never thought possible, and streamlining tasks in ways that, well, felt like science fiction just a few years ago.
It's more than breathtaking. It's like a fundamental shift. The acceleration we've witnessed in AI's capabilities, especially in generative AI, it's been astounding.
Right.
But what once required highly specialized programming skills and, immense computing power is now accessible to virtually anyone with an internet connection and a basic understanding of a prompt.
Just any.
We're talking about tools that can conjure photorealistic images from text descriptions, mimic human voices with uncanny accuracy, and even draft complex, nuanced content at remarkable speed and quality. The barrier to creation is just, well, it's been shattered.
And that's the exciting part. That really is. But with great power, as they always say.
Comes great responsibility, or maybe great potential for misuse.
Exactly. The flip side. As these incredibly powerful tools become easier to use and more widely accessible, so too does their potential for, well, malicious applications. We're witnessing a concerning increase in the sophistication and prevalence of criminal activities leveraging AI. This isn't just theoretical anymore, is it? It's a tangible, growing threat that's becoming increasingly complex to detect and combat.
And that's the critical problem we're here to unpack today. The ease with which deepfakes can be manufactured, individual voices cloned, or entirely convincing yet utterly false narratives generated. It means the threat landscape is evolving at an alarming pace.
Alarming is the right word.
Yeah, and this creates a profound challenge for individuals trying to discern truth from deception, for organizations safeguarding their reputation, and for governments tasked with maintaining public safety and national security. Yeah. It's huge.
So our mission today really is to embark on this deep dive into the crucial regulations emerging to combat this criminal misuse of AI, especially maybe in the realm of digital content creation.
It's a key area, yeah.
We're going to be examining the multi-layered approach being taken to curb these emerging threats. From individual content creators establishing their own boundaries all the way up to major digital platforms and even national governments implementing comprehensive legal frameworks. It's happening on all levels.
Right. And it's important to stress this isn't about abstract legal concepts or, some dry academic debate.
No, not at all.
This is about understanding the very fabric of the digital landscape you navigate every single day. The content you consume, the interactions you have, and the legal and ethical frameworks that are rapidly evolving to protect both users and creators alike. It's about how you verify what you see, hear, and read online.
And I guess the collective efforts to ensure that trust in our digital world isn't irrevocably eroded, which feels like a real risk right now.
A very real risk.
Okay, so the urgency of this issue is, well, undeniable. And it's underscored by a stark warning that feels almost ripped from a thriller script, yet it's deeply real.
Yeah, I know the one you mean.
This warning, it's prominent in the material we've reviewed, and it declares in no uncertain terms. The methods of using AI tools for criminal purposes are increasing and becoming more complex.
That's a powerful statement. And it really captures the dual nature of the threat.
It does. It suggests we're not just seeing more of the same old tricks, but an entirely new level of threat, right? The complexity part.
It's more than just a powerful statement. It reflects a very real and escalating concern. That warning highlights two critical dimensions: the sheer increase in these methods.
Right, more of it happening.
And their growing complexity. The increase, as you noted, is largely down to accessibility. AI tools that once required, specialized programming knowledge or massive computational resources are now available through intuitive interfaces, often for free or at low cost.
So the barrier to entry is just gone.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
It dramatically lowers the barrier for malicious actors, effectively democratizing the ability to create highly deceptive content.
So it's like giving everyone access to a cutting-edge digital forgery kit. Yeah. But it's the complexity part that really grabs me. What exactly does that complexity imply? Is it simply that deepfakes are getting better, harder to spot, or is there something deeper, more systemic going on?
It's definitely more profound than just improved visual fidelity, although that's a big part of it, for sure.
Okay.
The complexity refers to several interconnected factors that create a kind of Well, an asymmetry of digital power.
Hmm.
Firstly, the sophistication of the AI-generated content itself is just leagues ahead of where it was.
How so?
Deepfakes, right? Powered by these generative adversarial networks,
Hmm.
they constantly refine their output against a discriminator network. They're becoming nearly indistinguishable from reality.
So it's not just making a face look real.
No, no. It's about replicating subtle micro-expressions, contextual nuances, even the unique speech patterns, the little pauses, the ums and ahs that make human detection incredibly difficult, even for trained eyes.
Wow.
And similarly, advanced voice cloning now captures not just basic pitch and timbre, but the rhythm, the intonation, the emotional inflections, even the background noise of a target voice.
Right, so it sounds like it was recorded in the same room.
Exactly. Imagine receiving a totally convincing phone call from your bank's fraud department, or maybe even a family member in distress, only to realize later the voice was entirely synthesized.
That is truly terrifying, because if it's harder to detect and it can be produced at like an unprecedented scale, the potential for harm must be magnified exponentially. We're talking about deception on a massive scale.
Precisely. The implications are profound and pervasive. On a financial level, this complexity translates into significantly more convincing phishing scams, elaborate identity thefts, sophisticated financial frauds.
Like the fake CEO voice asking for a wire transfer.
Exactly that kind of thing. If an AI can perfectly mimic the voice of a CEO or a family member or a high-ranking official, the chances of someone falling victim to a fraudulent transfer or, sharing sensitive information increase dramatically.
And reputationally, for individuals or companies.
From a reputational standpoint, individuals, public figures, even entire corporations can be targeted with defamatory deepfakes or AI-generated smear campaigns. It could potentially destroy their public image, their credibility, maybe even their market value almost overnight.
And then there's the societal impact, which I don't know feels even more insidious somehow. The ability to rapidly generate and disseminate convincing yet totally false narratives, to deliberately distort reality or create politically charged fake content. It sounds like it could destabilize public trust, influence elections,
Oh, absolutely.
and even incite real-world harm.
It absolutely can. And you have to consider the speed at which this content can be generated and propagated. Malicious actors can now produce vast quantities of convincing yet entirely fabricated narratives, or manipulate existing legitimate content almost instantly.
Like, how much content are we talking?
Imagine generating thousands of fake news articles, maybe hundreds of deepfake videos, or thousands of hyper-personalized phishing emails, potentially in a single day.
Wow.
This scale, combined with the sophistication we talked about, means that traditional fact-checking mechanisms and just basic human vigilance are really struggling to keep pace. It fundamentally challenges our collective ability to discern truth, fostering an environment of cynicism and distrust. Nothing is real.
So what does this all mean for us, for you listening, as we navigate our daily digital lives? How does this escalating threat impact our ability to trust online information, recognize scams, or even verify digital identities when so much can be faked?
Well, it necessitates a fundamental shift in our relationship with digital content. It really does.
Yeah.
It means we as digital citizens have to cultivate a much higher degree of skepticism.
Mm-hmm.
Critical thinking is key.
So question everything.
Pretty much. Verifying sources becomes paramount, but even that is challenged when AI can mimic legitimate news outlets or official communication channels perfectly.
Right.
For you, the listener, it means being acutely vigilant about unsolicited messages, double-checking the authenticity of images, videos, audio, and just understanding that what you see or hear might not be what it seems. We have to move from a posture of passive consumption to one of active critical evaluation. Every piece of information, every digital interaction now carries this latent question: is this real?
That's a significant shift in mindset for everyone, a heavy lift, really. And it really highlights why comprehensive regulations are so critical right now. It's not just about stopping the bad actors. It's about trying to restore some foundational level of trust in the digital ecosystem. And it's particularly interesting, I think, that the regulations we're discussing today actually begin at the ground level, with individual content creators taking a stand. We've seen examples, like a creator named Speed Nguyen, who seem to be pioneering this proactive approach by actively defining boundaries for their own content.
This is a crucial starting point, I agree, because it demonstrates a kind of bottom-up, proactive stance. Speed and Glan isn't waiting for governments or the big platforms to establish all the rules. They're asserting their own clear terms for how their intellectual property, specifically their video content, can be used in this new era of AI.
It's like drawing a line in the sand.
It is. It's a powerful statement about maintaining control over their digital brand, their identity, and frankly, their responsibility within this rapidly evolving digital landscape. It's almost a form of digital self-governance, acknowledging that the old rules of engagement for digital content are changing fast.
Okay, let's unpack Speed and Goyan's specific prohibitions then, because they offer a fascinating glimpse into how creators are thinking about this. The first core rule seems very direct. Strictly prohibits using Speed and Goyan's videos solely for AI editing with offensive content and criminal intent.
Very precise language.
It is. What exactly does this ban encompass? It seems to have two parts.
It's incredibly precise, yeah.
Right.
It targets two distinct but often overlapping components, offensive content and criminal intent.
Yeah.
The offensive content aspect speaks directly to brand reputation and personal image.
Okay.
Creators, they meticulously cultivate a specific identity, a particular message, maybe a family-friendly brand. Having their content twisted or associated with anything deemed offensive, be it hate speech, explicit material, defamatory statements, or just anything that fundamentally contradicts their established values, can be extremely damaging.
And more than just damaging taste, right? It's like having your identity hijacked.
Exactly. It's about the deep personal and professional harm of having your digital persona co-opted to promote something you vehemently oppose.
And then there's the criminal intent part. That broadens the scope significantly, doesn't it? Moving beyond just reputational damage to actual legal ramifications.
It absolutely does. Criminal intent means any use that directly facilitates illegal activities. So this moves beyond protecting brand image to actively preventing their likeness or work from being instrumental in actual crimes.
Can you give an example, like a hypothetical?
Sure, think of plausible scenarios now. An AI could take Speed and Gwan's video, alter their voice and image convincingly to create a fake endorsement for a fraudulent product, or maybe a deceptive investment scheme.
Okay, like using their credibility against their audience.
Precisely. Or it could be used to spread disinformation that causes financial harm or manipulates markets. Another grave scenario could involve fabricating this situation where Speed and Gwan appears to say or do something illegal or morally reprehensible, potentially damaging their reputation beyond repair and opening them up to significant legal liabilities.
So it's about asserting digital sovereignty over their own creation and likeness.
That's a great way to put it. It's not just about protecting copyright in the traditional sense, but about preventing their very digital essence, their persona, from being exploited for illicit purposes. Yeah. It's a creator asserting a profound level of control that maybe wasn't even imaginable or necessary before generative AI took off.
It's a really interesting evolution of how intellectual property rights are being interpreted and defended now.
It is. For creators, their content is their livelihood, their identity, their personal brand. Allowing it to be maliciously altered not only devalues their work, but actively puts them and their audience at risk. It's a proactive, legal, and ethical boundary being drawn in real time.
Okay, the second core rule from Speed and Gwan's policy is about attribution. It states, if re-uploading Speed and Gwan's videos, credit must be clearly given. This sounds, pretty basic copyright stuff. How does its importance get amplified when we're talking about combating AI-driven misuse?
Well, while it is a fundamental principle, you're right, its significance is profoundly amplified in the AI era. In a world where AI can effortlessly re-edit, remix, and even generate entirely new content that mimics existing styles perfectly, proper attribution becomes a crucial anchor, an anchor of authenticity and digital provenance.
Provenance, like where it came from.
Exactly. Without clear credit, an AI-modified video could easily be passed off as original content, or worse, maybe as the creator's own unedited work, leading to outright misrepresentation or plagiarism.
Right.
By requiring clear attribution, Speed and Gwan isn't just protecting their copyright, they're creating a verifiable digital breadcrumb trail. It allows viewers to trace the origin of the content. This makes it significantly harder for malicious actors to completely obscure the original source if they're trying to deceive audiences with AI-manipulated versions. It's a simple rule, maybe, but it helps maintain transparency in a world that's getting digitally opaque very quickly.
So it's a way to maintain transparency and accountability in a landscape where AI can quickly muddy the waters. For us, the listeners, what does this imply about our own ethical responsibility when we share or reuse digital content, even if we aren't the ones doing the AI modifying?
That's a really important point. It means cultivating a more conscious approach to digital sharing. Every time you share, or repost, or remix content, especially if it looks like it might be a derivative work, maybe just pause. Consider its origin and whether proper attribution is given.
So just take a second before hitting share.
Yeah, exactly. The ethical responsibility falls on all of us, really, to ensure that the creators are properly recognized for their original work. This not only supports the creators, financially and reputationally, but it also helps maintain the integrity of the broader digital ecosystem. If we all commit to proper attribution, it makes it much harder for malicious AI-generated content to gain traction by falsely claiming originality or obscuring its deceptive nature. It's a small act, but it reinforces the value of genuine creation.
Makes sense. And what are the consequences if someone actually violates Speed and Goyen's rules? The policy is quite clear on this. Unauthorized AI editing of videos with offensive content and criminal intent will lead to copyright violation warnings, community guidelines violations, and/or permanent channel termination. That's quite a progression of penalties. It seems designed to deter.
It is indeed, and it reflects a pretty common tiered approach to online moderation and enforcement you see on platforms. The progression from a warning to permanent termination indicates a graduated response,
Giving people a chance first.
likely intended to give first-time offenders an opportunity to correct their behavior. Yeah, while reserving the most severe penalty termination for really egregious or repeat violations. A copyright violation warning is typically the first step, putting the user on notice that their actions are infringing on IT rights.
Okay.
Then a community guidelines violation signals that the behavior goes against the platform's broader rules for respectful and safe user conduct, things like hate speech, harassment, explicit content, that sort of thing.
And then the ultimate hammer, permanent channel termination. That must have an absolutely devastating impact on a creator's livelihood, their entire online presence. It's definitely not just a slap on the wrist.
Oh, it's an existential threat. Absolutely. For many creators, their YouTube channel or Twitch stream or social media presence is their business. It's their primary platform for creative expression and often their main source of income.
Everything gone in an instant.
Pretty much. A permanent channel termination means the instantaneous loss of their audience, their entire archive of historical content, their monetization capabilities, ad revenue, audience support like super chats or memberships, brand sponsorships, and often their entire established digital identity. It's like being erased from that specific platform's existence.
Wow.
The financial repercussions alone could be catastrophic, effectively cutting off their business model. It really underscores just how seriously platforms and individual creators are taking these violations. It's essentially a zero-tolerance policy for severe misuse.
This makes me wonder, how might these creator-specific rules, like the ones Speed and Goyen put out, how might they evolve? Or maybe become standardized across the wider creator economy as AI misuse becomes even more prevalent? Are we looking at a future where every creator effectively has their own terms of service for AI usage?
That's a fascinating question, and I think we are at the very beginning of that evolution, honestly. As AI tools continue to advance and become even more sophisticated, I definitely think we'll see more creators adopting similar proactive stances.
So more individual rules.
Possibly, but maybe also a movement towards industry-wide agreements, or even standardized digital watermarks, or perhaps unique cryptographic signatures that allow creators to assert ownership and set precise usage parameters for their content, specifically for AI applications.
Like embedding the rules in the content.
Something like that. Imagine a future where a piece of content carries embedded data, maybe even on a blockchain, that dictates which AI models can train on it, or how it can be transformed and redistributed, that kind of thing.
So it's about building a digital rights management system like DRM, but specifically designed for the age of generative AI.
Exactly, that's the idea. The aim would be to make these creator-level safeguards more robust, more scalable, and crucially more enforceable. Moving beyond just individual policy statements on a channel page to more systemic solutions.
That's interesting.
We could even see new technologies emerge that allow creators to automatically track AI usage of their content, or maybe to enforce these rules through smart contracts. This is where the creator economy is really at the forefront, kind of defining new digital rights, often innovating faster than traditional legal frameworks can keep up. They're building the future of intellectual property in this digital landscape.
It really does sound like a new frontier for digital rights. And this leads us perfectly into that next significant layer of defense we mentioned, platform-level enforcement. because
Yeah.
it's no longer just individual creators. The major platforms like YouTube are stepping up now.
Yes.
Their new monetization regulations seem like a prime example, reflecting broader industry trends in how these digital gatekeepers are responding.
That's right. Platforms like YouTube, Google, Meta, they're in a unique and frankly challenging position.
Hmm.
They host an absolutely astronomical amount of content, they provide the tools for creation and consumption, and they possess immense global reach.
Which comes with responsibility.
A significant responsibility, yeah, for regulating what gets published on their services. YouTube's new policies are a clear and forceful example of an industry giant acknowledging the growing threat of AI misuse and taking very concrete punitive steps to mitigate it. They're implementing rules that aim to address the problem at its root, basically, cutting off the ability to profit from such content.
Okay, and the specific rule from YouTube is quite impactful, as you say. Using other people's videos for AI editing, known as AI abuse content, will result in the video and YouTube channel being blocked from monetization and no longer visible to audiences effective July 15th. That phrase, AI abuse content, really jumps out. How is YouTube defining this category? Why is it so significant that they've given it its own specific label?
AI abuse content.
Yeah.
It's YouTube's explicit term for content that leverages AI to manipulate or alter someone else's original video without authorization and, importantly, with an intent to deceive or harm.
So intent matters.
Intent seems key here. It's a broad definition, perhaps, but by giving it this specific classification, YouTube is signaling that this isn't just another form of copyright infringement. It's a new, maybe more insidious category of manipulation that goes beyond simple re-uploads or unauthorized copies.
How so?
It recognizes that AI-driven alterations can create deceptive content that isn't merely a duplication, but a harmful alteration or fabrication based on the original. This is significant because it allows them to target the intent and the method of the misuse the AI editing part, rather than just the unauthorized use of source content.
Got it. And the penalties are this two-pronged attack. Monetization blocking and content invisibility. Let's break that down. How does blocking monetization impact creators, particularly those who might be using AI maliciously?
Monetization blocking is a direct hit to the financial viability of a YouTube channel. For many creators, legitimate or otherwise, it can be a death blow.
Because that's their income stream.
Exactly. For legitimate creators, YouTube isn't just a hobby. It's often a full-time profession. They rely heavily on ad revenue from views, direct audience support like super chats or channel memberships, and brand deals facilitated by their platform presence. When a channel is demonetized, that entire revenue stream dries up immediately. For malicious actors who might be using AI to generate deceptive content purely for financial gain-think, clickbait deepfakes, or AI-generated scams promoting shady products, this penalty directly attacks their economic model. It makes it financially unfeasible to continue producing and distributing such content on the platform. It effectively disincentivizes the whole operation. It hits them where it hurts most.
Right, cuts off the money. And then there's the content invisibility. It's not just demonetized, but actively removed from audience view. That feels even more severe, doesn't it? It's like wiping it from existence on YouTube.
It is arguably the more powerful disincentive, especially for preventing harm to users. If content is merely demonetized but still visible, it can still spread misinformation, cause reputational damage, or facilitate scams, even if the creator isn't profiting directly anymore.
The damage is still done.
Right. But when the content becomes no longer visible to audiences, it essentially ceases to exist on the platform in any meaningful way. It gets delisted from searches, removed from recommendations, direct links, probably won't function anymore.
So it just vanishes.
Effectively, yes. This means the malicious content can no longer reach its intended audience, which neutralizes its harmful potential on that platform. It's a proactive, pretty aggressive measure to protect the broader user base from ever encountering deceptive or harmful AI-generated material in the first place. Now, it's an ongoing battle, of course, but this level of removal is a significant defensive step.
And the effective date mentioned, July 15th, tells us this isn't some distant policy proposal. It's a very real, imminent change happening now. Why are platforms like YouTube acting now and with such force? What kind of pressure are they under to do this?
Oh, the pressure on platforms is immense, and it's coming from multiple directions. Firstly, there's you could say, existential pressure to maintain user trust.
Makes sense if people don't trust the platform.
Exactly. If users cannot reliably distinguish real content from sophisticated AI-generated fakes, they will rapidly lose confidence in the platform as a source of information and entertainment. This directly impacts user engagement, watch time, and crucially, advertiser confidence. Brands really don't want their ads appearing next to deceptive or offensive content.
Right, brand safety.
Brand safety is huge.
Sure.
Secondly, there's a strong ethical imperative and, frankly, growing public demand to protect user safety. Malicious AI content can lead to real-world harm, financial fraud, reputational ruin, emotional distress, and platforms are increasingly being held accountable, rightly or wrongly, for the content they host and amplify.
And government pressure, too.
Definitely. Finally, there's increasing pressure from governments and regulatory bodies around the world who are waking up to the emerging threats from AI. Platforms are often trying to get ahead of potential legislation by demonstrating robust self-regulation. They hope to shape the narrative, show they're taking it seriously, and perhaps avoid more heavy-handed governmental intervention down the line.
So how do these platform policies, like YouTube's, specifically protect us, the listeners, from encountering this deceptive or harmful AI-generated content? Beyond just punishing the perpetrators, how does it help the average user?
Well, by implementing these really stringent monetization and visibility penalties, platforms are basically creating a highly hostile environment for creators who engage in this kind of AI abuse.
Making it not worth their while.
Exactly. This significantly reduces the likelihood that you, as a viewer, will ever stumble upon AI-generated deepfakes designed to deceive, or fake channels spreading widespread misinformation on those major platforms. It pushes these malicious actors towards the fringes of the internet, making it much harder for them to reach a mass audience on mainstream services like YouTube. Now, no system is perfect, and it's definitely an ongoing technological arms race.
Cat and mouse.
Very much so.
Yeah.
But these policies act as a critical, large-scale filter. They protect the vast majority of users from falling victim to these sophisticated scams or misrepresentations. It's an active defense against the pervasive spread of AI-driven deception.
Okay, that brings us neatly to the highest level of regulation we're looking at today. Government-level legal frameworks. This isn't just about platform rules or individual creators anymore. Now we're talking national security and high-tech crime.
Right. A different ballgame.
Our discussion highlights specific entities, like a Ministry of Public Security's Cybersecurity Department and a Department for Prevention and Combating High-Tech Crime. The names themselves indicate this is a national-level response, likely, as you noted, in Vietnam, given the source language.
Precisely. And this shift from private platform policy to formal national legal frameworks signifies that AI misuse is no longer being viewed simply as an online content moderation issue. It's being formally recognized as a serious criminal offense with direct national security implications.
It's graduated to that level.
Yeah. When government bodies specifically tasked with safeguarding digital infrastructure and combating technologically sophisticated crimes get involved, it elevates the discussion entirely. We move from mere policy violations on a platform to actual legal transgressions that carry potentially severe penalties under national law. This acknowledges the strategic threat that AI misuse poses to a nation's stability, its economy, and public trust.
So what's the scope of criminal acts involving AI that these government bodies are specifically targeting? The material we saw lists several distinct purposes. Fraud, property appropriation.
The financial crimes, yeah.
Right, then subversion of the state, spreading false information.
The political and societal ones.
Distorting content, creating offensive content, and then that broad catch-all and other illegal acts. That covers an incredibly wide range of potential harms.
It does. And we can kind of categorize these to understand the breadth of governmental concern. Fraud and property appropriation fall squarely into the realm of financial crime, but now with this AI enhancement.
Making them potentially more effective.
Much more effective, potentially. This could involve using AI to impersonate individuals for illicit bank transfers, creating those highly convincing personalized phishing attacks we talked about to extract sensitive financial data, or maybe establishing elaborate AI-generated fake investment schemes designed to defraud unsuspecting citizens of their savings. The sophistication of AI makes these scams incredibly hard to detect using traditional methods. They can bypass many human and automated safeguards.
And then you have the more politically charged ones. Subversion of the state and spreading false information. These seem to directly address threats to national stability, don't they?
Absolutely. Subversion of the state is serious stuff. It implies using AI to, say, generate deepfake videos of public officials delivering inflammatory or false statements, fabricating official-looking government documents, or creating vast propaganda networks designed specifically to undermine government authority, sow dissent among the population, or even incite civil unrest.
Wow. and spreading false information, like disinformation campaigns.
Exactly. Often referred to as disinformation campaigns. This involves AI creating hyper-realistic but entirely fabricated news reports, social media posts, maybe even completely synthetic digital personas designed to manipulate public opinion, create panic, or discredit legitimate news sources. The potential for societal, political, and even geopolitical destabilization here is profound.
And what about distorting content and creating offensive content? Are those purely about defamation, or is there something more to them in this context?
Well, distorting content is quite broad. It could refer to altering official records, historical documents, maybe even scientific data to create a false narrative that serves some malicious purpose. This isn't just about misleading individuals. It can be about fundamentally rewriting public understanding of events or facts.
That's deeply concerning.
It is. And creating offensive content could overlap with the subversion aspect if it incites hatred or violence. But it also clearly encompasses things like generating non-consensual deepfake pornography, a huge problem, or targeted harassment campaigns using synthesized imagery, or creating highly realistic hate speech content, all amplified and made more convincing through AI's capabilities.
And that catch-all and other illegal acts.
That just demonstrates the government's intent to have a flexible legal framework, one that can adapt as new, currently unforeseen AI-driven criminal methods inevitably emerge. It's a necessary recognition that the threat landscape is constantly shifting under our feet.
It also sounds like the methods of operation these criminals use are becoming incredibly sophisticated. The material mentions creating fake channels and creating AI videos combined with fake channels. This isn't just a one-off deepfake anymore. It implies coordinated, deceptive campaigns designed to mislead on a grand scale.
Precisely. That indicates that malicious actors are thinking strategically. They're moving beyond just isolated acts of deception towards orchestrated, multifaceted influence operations. Creating fake channels means establishing an entire ecosystem of deceptive online presences. Fake social media profiles, fake YouTube channels, fake news websites, all designed to look utterly legitimate.
Mimicking real sources.
Exactly. They might mimic official news outlets, government agencies, or popular influencers to build this veneer of credibility. Then, creating AI videos combined with fake channels means populating these fake channels with AI-generated content. Deepfakes, cloned voices, fabricated news reports, maybe even entirely synthetic personalities presenting the news, to rapidly disseminate the harmful material and lend these fake entities an air of authenticity.
It makes it harder to spot the fakes.
Much harder. This coordinated approach makes it significantly more difficult to trace the true origin of the misinformation and gives it a powerful veneer of credibility, which significantly increases its impact and reach. It's a sophisticated form of, well, information warfare, essentially.
So, given all that, what are the consequences under national law for these actions? The material states will be subject to administrative penalties and even criminal prosecution, depending on the severity as per legal regulations. That's a clear distinction between levels of punishment.
It's a fairly standard legal framework structure, yes, but its application to this emerging digital frontier is what's really noteworthy here. Administrative penalties typically refer to the less severe repercussions, things like significant fines, official warnings, maybe the revocation of business licenses or digital privileges. These are generally designed to deter minor offenses or those with limited impact.
Okay, more like regulatory penalties.
Right. However, the crucial part is even criminal prosecution, depending on the severity. This means that for more serious offenses, or those with evidence of widespread harm and clear malicious intent, individuals can face much graver consequences. We're talking substantial fines, potentially lengthy prison sentences, or other severe legal repercussions as outlined in the national criminal codes.
And severity is the key factor.
Exactly. The severity clause allows the legal system to apply appropriate punishment based on the scale of the damage caused, the demonstrable intent behind the AI misuse, and the broader societal impact of the crime. It provides necessary judicial discretion.
This really does lay the groundwork for future legal battles in the digital realm, but what are the immense challenges of actually enforcing these laws, especially across international borders or against highly anonymous actors using sophisticated tech to hide? It feels like you'd be chasing ghosts sometimes.
You've hit on the core global challenge there. The enforcement difficulties are indeed immense, huge. Firstly, there's attribution. Identifying the true individuals behind anonymous online accounts or those using complex chains of proxies and strong encryption to mask their location and identity is incredibly difficult. AI itself can further complicate this by creating entire fake digital identities that seem real.
So just figuring out who did it is hard.
Extremely hard. Secondly, there's jurisdiction. AI-generated content can originate in one country, be hosted on servers located in another, and target victims in a third, or multiple others. Determining which country's laws apply, and then how to successfully extradite and prosecute individuals across borders. It's a complex legal and diplomatic nightmare.
Yeah, that sounds messy.
And thirdly, there's the rapid evolution of technology itself. Legislators and law enforcement agencies often struggle just to keep pace with the sheer speed of AI innovation. Laws drafted today might be outdated or have loopholes exposed by tomorrow's new AI capabilities, creating constant regulatory gaps. This is precisely where international cooperation becomes absolutely vital.
How so?
For sharing intelligence on threats and methods, for trying to harmonize legal frameworks where possible, and for establishing robust mechanisms for cross-border enforcement collaboration and digital forensics investigations. No single country can tackle this alone.
And this isn't isolated to just one country, is it? You mentioned international cooperation. It's part of a broader global trend of governments everywhere grappling with how to regulate emerging technologies like AI. What's the core tension here? Is it always innovation versus control?
It is. It's a fundamental and really delicate tension that pretty much every nation is navigating right now. On one hand, governments absolutely want to foster innovation. They want to attract investment in AI research and development, and they want to leverage its immense potential benefits for economic growth, scientific advancement, societal improvement, think healthcare breakthroughs, climate change modeling, smarter infrastructure.
The upsides are huge.
Huge potential upsides.
Yeah.
Overly restrictive regulations could stifle this vital progress and place a nation at a significant competitive disadvantage globally.
But on the other hand,
they have a paramount responsibility to protect their citizens, ensure national security, maintain social order, and uphold democratic processes, which AI misuse directly threatens.
so it's a balancing act.
An incredibly fine balancing act. Governments worldwide are striving to find that elusive sweet spot where they can effectively mitigate the significant risks of AI misuse, like all the ones we've discussed today, without unduly hindering its immense positive potential. This often involves a complex mix: new legislation, public-private partnerships, developing industry standards, ethical guidelines, and, as we said, crucial international collaboration to share best practices and develop common, maybe even globally enforceable standards eventually. It's a global challenge that requires a multifaceted and highly adaptive approach because the technology itself is always moving.
Okay, so we've looked at creator-level policies, we've looked at platform-level enforcement, and now government-level legal frameworks. It's clear it truly is a multi-layered, evolving approach. And it all seems to circle back, interestingly, to one unifying goal. Speeding Wayan's stated purpose for their regulations, as outlined in our material, was explicitly to help people raise awareness against the methods of using AI tools for criminal purposes.
That statement really does connect all the dots, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It brings together everything we've been discussing throughout this deep dive, whether it's an individual creator establishing their own ethical terms of use for their work,
Right.
or a massive platform like YouTube implementing stringent new policies to curb abuse, or a national government drafting comprehensive enforceable laws with serious penalties. A common and critical objective permeates all these efforts: to educate and empower individuals, the public, to be more vigilant.
Yeah.
It's an undeniable acknowledgement that regulations and technology alone aren't enough. Public awareness and digital literacy are the ultimate crucial lines of defense.
Because if people don't understand how AI is being misused or just how sophisticated the deception has become, they simply can't protect themselves effectively, can they?
Not really, no.
So the ongoing need for public education as AI evolves seems absolutely paramount. It has to be a continuous learning process for everyone involved.
It is indeed continuous, and critically, it's ever-changing. The methods of AI misuse are not static. They are constantly evolving, becoming more sophisticated as the underlying technology itself advances day by day.
What works today might not work tomorrow.
Exactly. What works as a scam or disinformation tactic today might be obsolete tomorrow, replaced by an even more cunning or subtle technique. Therefore, public education needs to be an ongoing process, constantly updated to reflect the latest threats and vulnerabilities.
What does that education look like?
What includes teaching robust digital literacy skills from a young age, promoting healthy skepticism and critical thinking habits, and providing clear, actionable guidelines on how to identify potential fakes and, importantly, how to report suspicious AI-generated content effectively. It's really about empowering you, the individual listener, to become an active participant in your own digital safety, rather than just a passive recipient of whatever information comes your way. It's about fostering a proactive sense of digital citizenship.
And this brings us right back to you, the listener. What is your fundamental role as an informed consumer and perhaps as a creator yourself in this rapidly changing digital landscape? What does it demand of us?
Your role is absolutely crucial, perhaps more now than ever before. As an informed consumer, it means being proactive, questioning the authenticity of content, especially if it seems too good to be true, maybe too shocking, or just too perfectly aligned with a particular bias or viewpoint.
Pause before you believe, pause before you share.
That's the key. Don't immediately share content without trying to verify its source and context. Look for those subtle inconsistencies, unnatural movements in videos, maybe odd vocal discrepancies in audio, questionable formatting or grammar in text. Use reputable fact-checking tools when you can.
And as a creator,
And as a potential creator, it means adhering to the highest ethical guidelines yourself, respecting intellectual property rights, obviously, and just understanding the immense potential impact, both positive and negative, of the content you create, whether it's AI-assisted or not. It's really about fostering a responsible digital citizenship where everyone plays a part in maintaining trust, promoting truth where possible, and actively combating misuse.
that's a powerful call to action, and it really brings together everything we've covered today. We started with those urgent warnings about escalating AI misuse and the fundamental shift it represented.
Right, the increasing complexity and accessibility.
Then we explored the specific rules laid down by pioneering individual creators like Speed and Guyan, setting their own boundaries.
And then we zoomed out to see how major platforms like YouTube are redefining their monetization and visibility policies to block AI abuse content, effectively making it financially unviable and, ideally, invisible on their platforms, which protects millions of users.
And finally, we explored the national-level legal frameworks with government bodies targeting a whole range of AI-driven criminal acts, everything from financial fraud to subversion of the state, with serious administrative and even criminal penalties, despite those immense challenges of cross-border enforcement.
And the overarching theme, the thread connecting all these efforts across these different levels of regulation, is that critical need for increased awareness, collective vigilance, and proactive digital citizenship from everyone involved: creators, platforms, governments, and users.
Yeah.
It truly is a shared responsibility to try and ensure AI is leveraged for good, not for harm.
So here's a final thought for everyone listening. As AI tools become even more seamlessly integrated into our daily lives, and as those lines between real and AI-generated content blur almost to the point of, well, indistinguishability, what new, perhaps unforeseen responsibilities will fall upon us as digital citizens? How much more critical evaluation will be needed for every piece of information we encounter? And maybe the bigger question, how do we as a society ensure that the rapid, almost exponential pace of technological innovation doesn't completely outstrip our collective ability to protect ourselves and our core institutions from its sophisticated misuse? Something to mull over until next time.
Indeed. It's a conversation that will undoubtedly continue to evolve just as quickly as the technology itself, a moving target.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. See you again in the next episode of this Tech Podcast.